Hey guys, welcome back to Shep Talk and welcome to my review of Argylle. Argylle was directed by Matthew Vaughn and was written by Jason Fuchs. Argylle stars Bryce Dallas Howard as Elway Conway, Sam Rockwell as Aidan Wilde, Bryan Cranston as Director Ritter, and Henry Cavill as Argylle. Argylle has a runtime of 2 hours and 19 minutes. Quick synopsis: a writer's life gets turned upside down when her stories become a little too real for a real-time spy agency. One of the first things about this movie, guys, is that right off the bat, you are going to tell that it is a Matthew Vaughn movie. He has a certain way he likes to shoot, and he definitely shoots that way in this movie, like he does in all of his movies. So if you're going in expecting something different from him, you're not going to get it. He has a certain style he likes to shoot in, and this movie is him through and through, and there's nothing wrong with that. I am a big fan of Matthew Vaughn, and if you go into one of his movies, you kind of know what to expect for his cinematography. And if you haven't seen Matthew Vaughn, he's also known for his action scenes and his takes and different spins on the action scene. He doesn't really... Okay, I won't say he doesn't really do anything new. There is something that he does, but we'll get to that in a minute. But his action scenes for the majority of this movie are Matthew Vaughn action scenes. They are really directed well, they are choreographed well, and they look great on screen. If you're a fan of his Kingsman series, you know what I'm talking about. You've seen how he does things with those types of action, because he's done it here. And I think Matthew Vaughn was trying something different to differentiate himself from the Kingsman and other spy movies. This is not a spy movie that I would take seriously. And with that, I mean, he does like to poke fun at not only his movies, such as the Kingsman, but other spy movies that we've seen before. The genre has been around for a while. We've seen a lot of the spy takes and how it turns out, but Matthew Vaughn does take a moment to show us that almost kind of Austin Power-esque, but maybe not that far, that the spy world can use some comedy from time to time. I have been a fan of Sam Rockwell for the longest time. I think he is a phenomenal actor. He doesn't get enough recognition, in my opinion, and he proves it once again with this movie. I think Sam in this action role with his comedy timing is really, in my opinion, well done. I just think, especially, I'm just sorry thinking about some scenes, like when he has to take care of Ellie, who's this writer that has his anxiety and social disorders and every which way, and is trying to get her to do the things he needs her to do, and having to deal with her and her cat. It's just one factor of this character, and then to see him just like kick ass and do some phenomenal action in this movie is just another feather in his cap, and I appreciate everything he does. I'm glad to see him again in the movies and doing some great action. Again, I think he is one of the bright spots in this movie. But not to be outdone, I think Bryce Dallas Howard does a good job in the role that she is given as this author that is also kind of a recluse, that doesn't like to be out in public a lot, and then is forced into a situation that she can't handle really mentally and sometimes even physically. But she also has certain other things going on in her life, and I think she does very well showing us both sides of that character that we see. I will say, though, in my opinion, that the first Ellie that we get is by far the best acting I think we've seen with Bryce Dallas. Later on in the story, I think it just takes it a little too far or goes to a different place, and I really don't think she shines as much as she could have. I think her role as Ellie, the author, the agoraphobe kind of person, is really well done, and I think how her character evolves just doesn't really hit for me. Now onto some things that I did not like. one of the things right off the bat, because this movie does use it like right off the bat, is CGI. Now there's times, especially throughout this movie, that you can tell that the CGI being used is incorporated really well, or you barely notice that they're in a CGI environment and stuff like that. But there are times in the beginning of this movie, I don't know if this was done last or had to do it in a hurry, but the CGI was just like, was really bad. I get it kind of, but it was, the CGI was just bad, and it's something that pulls you out of the story if you were looking for those types of things. And I think the good ideal fairy hit Matthew Vaughn and his team a little too much, and not in the good way. It seemed like every ideal that they thought for a spy movie, they incorporated into this movie. And sad to say that it didn't need to happen. Like, it felt like they added characters and then they were like, oh, we need to make sure that this character gets the proper send-off, or the closure for this character is done. And I think it would have been better to leave it to an imagination for some of these characters. Did they live? Did they escape? Did they survive? XYZ. We don't need to know everything that happens to every character in here. I think it got a little too crowded. The storyline got bogged down because of that stuff. And sort of to continue on that line of the good ideal fairy, I think Vaughn and team saw all these spy movies and saw these twists and turns that spy movies take and thought, you know what, we should do this, or we need to do this. And one or two twists in a spy movie is usually pretty good. You don't need to throw every twist you can think of into a storyline, which then leads me into my third complaint. This movie goes on too long. I think the runtime was 2 hours and 19 minutes. I believe cutting down some of the stuff in the third act, cutting some of these twists that they put in here, could have trimmed this movie down to maybe 100 minutes, 110 minutes, and I think that would be like the perfect amount of time for this movie. I think it started out very strong. I think the first two acts with establishing Bryce Dallas' character, getting her involved with Sam Rockwell's character, and then trying to survive and figure out what's going on, or why they are after this writer, was really well done. It wasn't until like the third act that things kind of went off the rails, at least for me. With that being said, this movie is not bad. Like, I'm not going to give it a 1 or 2 Shep rating. And especially if you're a Matthew Vaughn fan, I think you're very much going to love this movie, or really enjoy this movie, because it's done. Matthew Vaughn has a style, and he definitely stays with that style through and through with most of his movies. And he does that with this one, pretty much taking a different spin on Kingsman. I just think that they went a little too far. They threw everything in the kitchen sink into this movie, and someone needed to pull it back a little bit and just trim a little bit more, fine-tune it a little bit better, and I think we would have had a better movie. This is going to be an enjoyable movie, but I definitely don't think it is going to be a great movie for people. And also, stay at least till the mid-credits, because there is a mid-credit scene, and it does kind of set things up for like the next Matthew Vaughn movie, and even kind of hints that this movie might tie into something else of Matthew Vaughn. So I don't want to spoil it. You can let me know down in the comments. We can talk about it there, or hit me up on my social medias. But with all that being said, guys, Shep Talk is going to give Argylle 3 Sheps out of 5. Let me know down in the comments down below. Have you seen Argylle? What did you think? But guys, that is all I have time for today. Thank you for watching. And if you haven't done so already, remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. It does help my channel out greatly. And I truly appreciate it. But guys, that is all I have time for today. I'll see you in the next review.